Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and she is Yolanda Starks White. Hello, yo.
Hey, Sybil.
How you doing?
I'm happy. How you
You're
today?
you're always happy.
I work on it, girl,
I know. I know.
and it works.
Yep.
That's all you got. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
That's all you got. Is happiness contagious in your case?
Do you mean do I catch it when someone else has it?
Yeah.
I think you have the ability to spread that. I'm not sure that everyone's is as believable and as contagious as yours is.
So, Sybil, I'm not going to be rude because some people think that it's rude to drink while you're on camera, but I'm in a place where it's really dry, and I forget that I am susceptible to dryness. So I'm going to have to wet my throat.
Wet your whistle. Okay. Ooh, 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 ooh,
No
ooh,
disrespect.
ooh, 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 ooh,
I'm
ooh.
put a lozenge in. Okay. How's your day, Sybil?
Um, it's been pretty uneventful. Thanks.
What'd you do? What that look like?
I worked this morning. I had one of those mornings where I woke up at like about 3 and couldn't go back to sleep. So
What time did you go to bed?
maybe about midnight.
You woke
Yeah,
up at 3.
yeah. I woke up at 3, went to the bathroom, and got back in bed and couldn't go back to sleep. And some
Really?
nights I can, and some nights,
Listen,
yeah.
you're gonna have to figure that out because you're making my business look bad. People gonna say that's what you do, and you can't help your best friend in the whole wide world. Listen, you're gonna have to figure this sleep thing out through meditation, or you're gonna have to fake it.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Well, I'm faking it. Me and Valerian root, we're faking it.
Well, do
Um,
you try meditation? Do you try
I
to just
I try
did you
and
shut down your mind
I try to
with
well, I
one
turn the
layer
lights
at a
off
time?
and all of that stuff and just lay there and try to meditate and I started thinking about the Waltons. So I went and looked up this particular episode of the Waltons that I had a question about, and I ended up watching that and fell asleep before it ended.
Okay.
And so then when I woke up this morning after several hours, I guess I went back to sleep.
Oh,
And
good.
then I knew that I had a story that I had prepared yesterday for today's newsletter, but that was switched because of the shooting in Georgia. So, and I didn't think that that story was what I wanted to do today
Right.
in light of some other news things that came down. So I worked on that story and I let Cherie know that I was doing something else. And I did that. I went outside for a little bit because it's only in the 80s today.
Oh, is it? Oh my
Yeah,
god. What that look like?
I forgot too.
So you walked around. Well, that was what I was gonna suggest. If you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, where you live, first of all, it's just so beautiful. If you run up and down that hill twice, your ass will be so tired you'll fall out. So try that.
But I got to put clothes on, and I
Well,
worry
you
about
know,
get.
anybody else out there at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Well,
except except
you
the
know me,
coyotes and the bobcats.
and you know how I am getting bit by stuff. So I got to put on clothes to prevent that, and work up a sweat. Then I got to take a shower, and there's
Yeah, okay. I guess
things
that
to
is a
go
lot of
along
work.
with it.
Okay.
But I appreciate that, and I thought, well, if I stay up till the sun comes up, then I'll go do that. But I ended up falling asleep before the sun came up. So
So when
um,
you do that, then do you oversleep and you
yeah,
mad because
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and that just really sets my day back. Just like, oh shoot, and then
Well, if I can
I'm
just
mad at
encourage
myself.
you, if that happens, I think that if you could just train your mind to think about it differently, and whenever, in your case, whenever you can sleep, then you sleep and you let the other stuff be where it is. Because I'm telling you, when it comes to dementia, when it comes to the cognitive decline, the best thing as we get older is to sleep
Right,
because that's when your mind repairs itself.
Right.
It can't repair when it's up and constantly moving.
Right.
So at all costs, figure out a way whenever you can get it in. Don't rush yourself to get up, especially if you struggle, I think.
I agree with you, but we do have schedules to keep. And there are other people, well, you don't have a schedule. I have a schedule that I have to follow. And so, that too plays a part in, my day and looking at the clock and, trying to
Well,
figure out.
with the schedule, we have somewhere for that, because whomever don't get what they need to get done, we got a solution. Her name is Cherie White. I'm just saying. Anyway, whatever.
And I appreciate her. I really do. And other people are waiting for, the what do you call it? The line, the
Assembly
machine,
line.
assembly line. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have an assembly line. I call it the machinery line because we are like little machines. But it is what it is. But I'm glad to see you. How are you? Other than happy?
I'm really great, Sybil. I'm in this training, and I'm telling you, when I get back,
You're gonna be
y'all are gonna be so sick of me. Justice, it's coming. I'm telling you, y'all gonna be. I found my people, Sybil. Oh my gosh.
And Justice, I don't know about you, but as her people, Chica.
Who my people?
Well,
Justice, oh yeah, that's right.
Chica.
Sybil, I'm telling you.
Dogs.
Well, first of all, I'm in Sedona, and you talk these mountains. This is really so majestic.
Have you taken any great pictures?
I'm not really a picture taker. Because I spend time really
taking it
experiencing and taking it in, that I'll never think about pictures, but I will take some pictures.
I love a good sunset.
Okay, I'll see what I can find, but it's so beautiful.
So tell people, if you can, what you're doing.
So I flew in. I'm doing this treatment. I'm doing this program on. So, but this is funny, on grief counseling. I'm getting certified in grief counseling. And so this particular program is for people who already are practicing everyday licensed therapists. And so, Sybil, I had to get permission with all of my other training. They let me in and owning the yoga studio. But honey, let me tell you, these people is PhDs in here, Sybil. They are a lot of this stuff is going over here, but I'm just catching it as I can, because it's just such a beautiful experience, because it's these therapists that have a yogi mentality. It's just
that's how they are your people. I get that.
They have a yogi mentality, but it's science based. So it's not just, as they say in yoga, the woo woo woo. But the lady who's reading it, she's one of the leading authorities in grief therapy in the country, and specifically trauma grief. And just the way, and this will actually tie into what Aprylete talked about and what you talked about. We have so much trauma that's happening in the world today, that like even what happened in Georgia yesterday, there is something called secondary post-traumatic stress syndrome. So we don't have to experience it directly, but the fact that we hear about it every day and it's just coming at us, then it's not, we can't be so cocky to say we know how it feels, because we don't, but we can definitely show some empathy and have those emotions from experiencing it. And what do you do with all of those emotions?
What do you do?
That
are locked away inside for a lot of us.
You process them. And it's a girlfriend of mine, I actually texted her while I was in here, and I just said, listen, she lost her son. And I just said, listen, grief is a process, and it takes a while to go through it. So I encourage you to cry, because crying, those tears, they cleanse your soul. I really encourage you to be sad, because you got something to be sad about. And I encourage you to just talk about how you're hurting as much as you can. And it's never too much, because some people, when they're going through it, they're like, it's too much. It's never too much. But anyway.
I remember when my dad died and I was a little girl, and people were like, "You got to be strong for your mother." My mother was like, "I got this. She
Right.
needs to process," and she used those words. She needs to cry. She needs to let it out. So I can
It's
appreciate that.
amazing that your mother was saying that back then.
Yeah, yeah,
And so you did, you
yeah,
cried.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, how did she deal with it? How did she process it?
Well, my mother.
Wait, hold on. Whenever you start, well, that
He
is
was
that
he
is
was
not sort out.
he was number 4. And I'm not sure how much, like, quite honestly, and I've said this before, I'm not sure how much longer my parents would have stayed married.
Sybil, I understand, but still, the man died.
I know.
Okay, I'm just saying.
But having been in that situation myself,
Oh yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah. You have been. Oh my God, Sybil, you have.
yeah.
Ooh.
But look at the time. Look at the time.
Okay, yeah.
Let's talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter, and we will also recognize Aprylete, and we're sending our love and our prayers to Aprylete and her
Yes.
family as she's going through a difficult time with her family. But uh, on one side was the birth of her niece,
Yes.
Renaissance,
Yeah.
and
That
now
precious
I
baby.
know she's so beautiful.
Little doll baby.
Right, right. And now she's going through a loss. So we just want to send her all of our love and support and lift her up there. And talk about a little bit about what she in the newsletter is our mental health and wellness contributor. And the story that we had in Aprillette's section today was adjacent to what was going on in Georgia.
Right.
And this is in the mental health asking people who are asking how to talk to their children about mass shootings and 5 tips that they give to people. The United States has surpassed 48 mass shootings in 2024. Just let that 48
Mm,
up until September.
mm.
The mass shootings and school shootings may spark feelings of stress, grief, and anxiety in children. And many students, including kindergartners as young as five
Yes.
years old,
Yeah.
participate in the active shooter drills. And a lot of news people who are parents were talking about this yesterday, in the stages that their kids, like when they're in preschool, they're just told to be quiet, just shh, don't say anything, and, hide. And then as they get older, they are told about, stranger danger or the bad person that's coming in and how to respond to that. But, in this conversation, I was thinking about this because our friend Dr. Kim, the neurologist who has been on with us a number of times, she said that her kids were talking about the shooting yesterday. Her children are like, I think she said like 7, 8, 9 in there. And she said that her kids just between themselves said, okay, if something like that happens to us at school, I will call 911 and you call mommy and daddy. That
So
was it. That was their plan.
I'm gonna have to. I can't wait till I get to the part in the course where I just wonder if that's healthy. On one side, they
She
need to
didn't
be.
initiate the conversation though. It's
No,
just,
I know, but how did they know about it?
yeah, well, I don't think people could, get through their day yesterday without having some
A
information about it.
7-year-old? You don't tell me that a 7-year-old that could have been avoided. A 7-year-old had
Well,
to be exposed to that.
if you don't turn on your television or your radio, yeah.
Not with the 7-year. That's what I'm saying. Because part of our problem in this society, and I'm becoming more and more frustrated, and I'm gonna have to find some peace, is the media exploits everything. And so they don't just tell the story, but they exploiting what's going on. And it's
I
just over and over and over and over
Well,
and over and
that's the
over
news
and over.
cycle. That's
Yes.
because you never know when someone is going to turn on the television. You have to reset and tell people what happened, where you are now, and that's how the cycle continues. Unfortunately, that's the nature of
But
the
we
business.
have to protect our babies. And Justice said something that I think is another way to handle it.
Justice on Facebook said, I literally told my husband I need to ask my daughter's daycare if they had a plan in place. It's sickening. And that's a
So
sad reality. Yeah.
I think that adults should handle the adults. I mean, just a 7 and 8. How can they process that? How can they like, okay, well, this is
Well,
what we're
they
going to
have
do.
processed it because they have drills. They go through drills, and people said when we were younger, even the vice president said yesterday, and well, I grew up in California, so we had earthquake drills. You and I
Right.
had
Well, you're
fire
right. It's
drills.
it's it's the sign of the times. But with that, there needs to be some therapy that is associated with that trauma that we are releasing on kids.
Right, right. And making the kids responsible for, and she didn't do this, but the kids felt the need to come up with their plan.
What
If
that
if
mean?
something, her kid said, if something like that happens, I call 911. You call mommy and daddy. That was their agreement.
Okay. Well,
And she played no
that's
part in that. She said she didn't even know, how do you
well,
respond to.
that sounds
And
like
she's a
some pretty smart
neurologist.
kids. That Yeah, I was about to say that sounds like some pretty informed kids to
Yeah,
know what to know how to process and the steps to take.
right, right. And so that is in our mental health section, and five things to know to in order to talk to your children about these mass shootings. Unfortunately, it's a reality that we just
Sign of the times.
it's a sad sign of the times, and damn it, something needs to be done about it to change the sign of the times. And
Amen.
that's and what I said in my story talking about this was, what's your thing, what's your issue, that you because everyone is talking about, we got to get rid of these guns and automatic rifles and all of this. And we used to have a ban on them, and then they let it slide, they let it expire, and we didn't do anything about it. But you have the votes to get rid of people who are not doing anything regarding your safety and gun violence.
Right.
Find what if your thing is gun violence, then find out who those people are that are representing you and how deep in the pockets they are of the gun lobbyists. How careless are they? Even there are people in Georgia. I remember this last year. There was the big thing about the automatic rifles, and there was a politician, and his Christmas card was with he, his
Right.
wife, and his
I remember
children,
that.
and the automatic rifles.
I remember that.
That's in Georgia, and they have some of the worst gun laws there. And
Do they?
so, yeah, yeah, and no red flag laws. That if something trips your trigger, and you say, oh, like this kid, 14 years old, came to school. How did he get the automatic rifle? How
That's
did he
number
get it
one.
in the school?
That's number two.
And then how did he get it to so that when he asked to go to the bathroom, he came back to the classroom, and the he knocked on the door. The kids saw he had a gun. They locked the door. He went to the next room.
Oh my goodness.
And
So
and last year, this is my last thing. I'm just going to say,
that's okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
last year he was called. He and his father were investigated by the FBI because of threats that were made against the school on a platform. And
From him.
well, they thought it was from him, but they didn't have the evidence they thought they needed, but they did not follow up.
Right.
They did not follow up. And
Whew.
this father gave this kid a gun for Christmas.
Huh?
He told him that he had guns, but he would not be in an area where the kid could get the guns. So what did he do? This is what he told him in May of 2023. And
Oh,
Christmas 2023, he gave him a gun for Christmas.
and he was
He
13 then.
he's 13, and I'll tell you the rest of it as we get in. But there's just so much, and so how do you talk to your kids that there are parents who are not very good parents, and they don't know how to help their children, and they are enabling them to be
Well,
murderers.
Wendy says,
Brenda McCutcheon on Facebook, even if you shield your child from the news, other kids may introduce misinformation about what happened. So it'd be better coming from the parent or the guardian. I believe that too.
I agree with you too. That's a good point.
But in this case, telling people how to talk to their children is something we need to talk about.
So did they charge the parents?
Well, they should. They have not as
Well,
of
we don't know
yet.
yet.
He
Okay.
goes to court tomorrow.
The young man does.
Yes.
And he has to be accompanied by his parents?
Well, he's being handled as an adult.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
But there has to be some culpability for the
Right,
parents.
like the shooting in Michigan last year with a kid. They called the parents. It's like, look, buddy, I'm trying to help you. Let's just do right and go on back to school. And he went back to school and he shot up the school. And the parents were cited. They are doing time.
Right.
For aiding and abetting. But this man gave this, and okay, so let's go to the what's really going on question. I'm looking at the time. And you had a great question.
My question is, I don't know how I came up with this, but if you're in a situation and you had one person to call, you only have one person, you can only make one phone call. So that phone call, it has to count. The person has to pick up and they have to be able to do whatever you need for them to do.
And they will. And
yes. Who is that one person? Now I'm gonna tell you. Mine used to be you. Bar none. Sybil will always pick up my call, and whatever I need, she's there. But lately, your phone.
Well, my phone is a little wonky.
Yeah. Well, I got to make sure that you are positioned in the right room.
Yeah, because I have to lean over, and my arm has to be up, and
I don't know
this one has to be back here. Yeah. And then I have
all of that.
It's a
so Sybil,
thing. Yeah.
You got me on the bubble. I think I'm gonna have to find another one call. But here's the deal:
who's gonna be your other call?
I don't know, but who? Well,
because if you call Chica, what number are you gonna call?
right.
And she's in a meeting,
right?
And then what do you text her? She doesn't do text.
Right.
No offense, Chica, but we know.
Right.
And feel free to come in, Chica, because I don't. And if you call Ward,
he won't answer. He never answers my call.
And when I call you, no.
Oh.
No.
I'm not the best at answering phone because I'm not tied to my phone, and I'm not a prisoner to my phone, and I don't multitask. If I'm in the middle of watching TV, I'm not talking on the phone. I'm watching TV. If I'm in the middle of washing my face, I do one thing at a time, and so I'm not your person. Now, if you. Well, who is your person?
Well, it used to be you, and when you were single, you were better at it because you really were tied to your phone then.
I really was. I'm a different person now, right?
Yeah. I don't.
So who is your person? Because
Ramsey the dog. Ramsey's the only one.
They have to answer, but they have to be willing and able to do whatever you want them to do.
Right.
See, with you, I don't care what it is. Right. You will do it for me.
Right.
But I can't reach you. So it's for naught.
And it used to be your mom, because your mother.
My mother will always answer she will and she at a certain point, she was able to do what I needed her to do. She used to be
she did stuff for us when we were in Europe.
Yep.
And she made things happen.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I'm gonna put you on hold. I'm gonna make this call. I'm gonna put us together, and then we'll get it all straight.
I think it'll be sister. As long as you don't have to drive over a bridge. She couldn't come get me. But she'd answer my call. She might have to connect me to you until she gets you. That's it. Yes. That's what I do. I'd call sister, and then sister would keep calling you until you get a signal where we can talk.
Well, she got me the other morning. So
I know, right? Yeah, I was so grateful that I was like, Sybil, answer? Okay.
Yeah, I was up.
So you really don't have somebody, babe?
No, I really don't.
then you know what? I'm gonna do better by you. The
Really?
mama, don't get no ideas. It's just for Sybil. No, I'm kidding.
Because I really do have my phone just about every minute. I mean, I will turn it off like at night because of my sleeping habits, and if I hear dingings and things that wake me up, and I have had that where I've left the phone on because I think that something is coming, or I feel that something is happening, and so I will keep it on, and it will ultimately wake me up. But the other day when you called me and you're like, I need you to do this, 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 and this before I leave, and I put my phone down. I went to the kitchen to get a cup of coffee,
And
and that's when you called, and I went running to my bedroom to stop, and you stopped. You're like
all
that,
right.
and
Well,
hung up on
somebody
me.
suggested that I put a certain ringtone that is just yours.
You have so
And
many
then I
special
can
ringtones.
Well, no, I don't because I don't have alerts. If you text me, I might read it that day or I might read it
That's
3 or 4 days. I'm
That's
not
true.
gonna text.
And your emails, if I send you an email, you're not going to read it till later on that day.
Like that, I will read it that day, but it will be later on that day. I'm just not tied to electronics anymore, and I broke myself away, and it is liberating, Sybil. It's liberating.
The one thing that I do have in my phone for you is I have you as my ICE,
Right. That's a
in
better
case
person.
of emergency person.
Who's your ice? We
Yeah.
have some.
Barbara on Facebook, on YouTube, I'm calling my daughter. We talk
Nice.
every day, so I know she would reach out to my sisters and everyone else. She would freak out first and then
Then
call
call
everyone. So give
everybody.
her the freak out time, Barbara, and then
Right.
she'll go about your business.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Oh,
Gwen Webb on Facebook says the real question is, do you have their phone number memorized? Because what if you can't get to your phone?
ooh.
Now, I do have your number. I do, because you've had your number for so long.
You know what? I am so
Before
bad
I had a
with
cell phone.
numbers. You've had your number for a while too. I went to call you today, and I could not remember your number. I kept putting it in. I kept doing 54 as opposed to 51. Yeah, I could not. Girl, I mess up a number even after 30
Yeah, that
years.
number dyslexia thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, listen, I just
Who's
think.
your person? Dr. Marks, I was going to send you a happy birthday greeting at the end of the show. Happy birthday tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful
Oh,
year.
happy birthday, Doc.
Dr. Mark says, I do personalized ringtones for my kids and mom first while I'm at work, especially. And I'm calling my mom. Calling
Oh,
your mom.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Hi, Justice. I see you.
Pamela Sullivan on Facebook. The only number I know by heart is my hubby. So would he answer?
Right. That's the question. See, even if you know the number, will the people answer? Yeah. But knowing the number, that is a
That's important.
we forget that. I wonder, are we telling young people that?
I don't know,
That
because I know your niece, when we were talking about knowing how to read a map and where to get off, and they just don't. They don't learn to read cursive anymore. They don't
Mhm.
need a map because they got Waze, or they have Google Maps, or whatever the map online is, and so they just don't. It's like, well, get off of exit. No, get off of East Chase.
No, 23B. Right. But still, when
That's
you say
Eastern.
cursive, why do you need to know cursive?
People they just stop.
But so why do you need to know it though? I mean, like, why do you need to know algebra 3?
It's one of the gentler arts. I don't know. I don't know. But
You are such an intellect.
it's one
Really?
of the higher, gentler arts is learning how to cursive. I like my signature.
Oh, you know what, Michael? He told me what why you need cursive. So you can't give your signature with print.
No,
It
it
has
says
to be.
print and it says signature.
It does, and so signature mean cursive.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now, when you do electronic sign-ins, then you just press. You go, oh, I like that signature, and you can do that. But you really should know how to write your name in cursive.
And they don't teach that. So
Not anymore. Unless people are, finding at some schools they do teach it, but for the most part, kids are not learning cursive anymore.
Wow. Hmm.
Pamela Sullivan on Facebook, the only number I know by heart is my hubby's. And that once again, I'm asking you, does he know your number by heart? Does Ward know your number by heart?
Yeah.
Okay. And you'll answer.
Well, that's why he don't answer, because he know my number.
Let's have that last. Colby Smith on YouTube. My mom or stepdad. I know both numbers by heart, but my stepdad would probably answer first.
Really?
Yeah, I think if my mother was alive, I would still go to her first, or my godmother, but they're both gone. So
right.
And then Yolanda doesn't answer. So because if she's watching television, she's
from here on out, Sybil, test me, me, and see if I'll show up for you.
Okay, all right. Who's your lifeline? Who's that person you're going to call? No matter what, no matter when, no matter what, no matter how, they're going to pick up your call.
Oh, hold on.
Dora Levette Tiggs. Same with my husband. He never answers my call, she says on Facebook. Are you not going to answer my call?
I'm going to always answer your call.
Okay, well,
you just called me.
I told you. I told you. This is it. This is my life, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my goodness.
That's my lifeline. That's her right there. That's my lifeline. That was right there.
Okay. Whatever it takes.
Z Walker said it was her daughter.
Yes.
Z Walker on Facebook says my daughter. God bless.
Oh my gosh.
Charlotte Bowen Bellamy on Facebook. I will call my husband. He will answer because I usually text him. He will know something is wrong.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Wow. Gwen Webb, call me Sybil. I got you. Thank you, Gwen. Thank you. And I know Justice has got me. I know. Thank you.
That was very funny.
Michelle Pegues on YouTube says, my daughter-in-law would answer and get my son. My husband would be asleep, and my sister and brother-in-law wouldn't have their phones on. Wow.
Yeah.
In this day and age, we still have people that don't have their phones on.
Yes, Sybil, because you're doing other stuff besides your phone. Yes.
You don't work on it. I write my stories on my phone.
No.
I text people. No. Okay. Don't ever leave me. Sonia Hall on YouTube says, my mom always picks up the phone.
Nice.
That's really great.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. Karen Vaughn on YouTube. My sister-in-law, Stephanie, always picks up and knows how to handle business. So I'm always calling her first.
All right, Karen.
That's
good for you.
Great to have somebody in your life that can do that.
Good for
Yolanda
you.
can handle the business if she just answered.
Okay, test me again. Girl, you know I'm not good with tests. Oh my
I will always answer your call. All right.
Oh my goodness.
30 seconds later.
SHIT. Go on with your little show.
All right. Thank you all for participating. Yolanda, if you have one more, should we move on?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. Okay. You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Let's move to trending. And to bring it back to the story that we were talking about, other things have come out. A student that was placed in police custody in South Georgia after being found on the school grounds with a gun. This is another case that happened today.
Oh my goodness!
A student was placed in police custody after being found on school grounds with a gun. Thomasville, Georgia police say that they were called to the McIntyre Park Middle School Thursday afternoon There are no reported threats or injuries this afternoon. The student was in police custody, but unclear if he or she is facing charges. The student's name has not been released, as opposed to the person who did all of the horrific damage yesterday. This is just a day after the school shooting at the Appalachia High School that claimed 4 lives and injured 9 other people. No connection to the Wednesday shooting in Barrow County. A booking photo of the alleged shooter, 14-year-old Colt Gray, was released Thursday, and they've shown a series of pictures over years, and there's something different about this kid.
Is he?
He's white.
Okay, good. Well, not
Uh,
good. Okay.
but this is really interesting. And I'll tell you, they one of the newspapers did an interview with an aunt that lives in Florida, and she said this kid has been crying, begging for help prior to the shooting. Her words, begging for help. His aunt told the Washington Post that the boy had been begging for help from everybody around him. She
Oh
said
my.
he was struggling with his mental health prior to the shooting,
Yeah.
and she declined to elaborate on her nephew's mental health struggles, but said she tried to get him help from a distance and said he had a troubled home life that exacerbated his issues.
Hmm.
So Yolanda, let me ask you this as a counselor, um, what if you see a situation like this from afar? How far can one go in getting help if you're not the parent or you're not there in the town, in the state? What can one do?
I don't understand. Ask that question another way. I'm not understanding what you're
So
saying.
she said, so this boy was in Georgia, and so he
Hmm.
had been begging for help. She didn't say how, but she
So she's
said
been. That's what I say. What does begging for help look like from her position?
she just says that he has been struggling with his mental health, and he had been begging for help from everybody around him, but she's not specific in
Yeah.
that. So I don't know if that, if if he's acting out and she takes that as a cry for help, if he has gone to her and said, I'm not well, I need help. What does one do? And
Well,
especially if
Sybil,
you're
well, first of all, what I would say is you have to show grace. That's I always start there because we don't we I hear her saying that he has been crying out for help, but do we know that somebody wasn't trying to facilitate that cry out for help? How do
Mhm.
we know that? How do we know? Because I've been in situations like this where the loved ones have reached out for help, that their person have been acting out and they have reached out for help, but unfortunately we in America today we just don't have the resources that are needed to help so many people that are in crisis.
Mm.
And so that's the first thing. I hear what she said. I would have to hear more before I place
Sure.
judgment on it.
Yeah.
Because how do we know that somebody wasn't trying to facilitate
All right.
and they just didn't have the necessary resources?
All right. That's the truth. That's the truth. And especially and this isn't in this case, but especially as you get older and as the children become adults, then it's even more difficult.
It's even more difficult.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's even more difficult because when you are a child, you are ignored. You
Mm.
are written off as being bad or crazy or all of these labels that we're so quick to put on people, as opposed to, well, maybe something is really going on. How often do we say that when we see somebody acting out?
All right.
We are just so quick to name call and put a label as opposed to look at the person and what's really happening.
And I've been guilty of that. We were in an airport, was it this year or last year? And we were in Jamaica, and there was a child who was acting out.
Mm-hmm.
And I I was disturbed at the way that she was acting out. And you said, I'm not sure, but she is dealing with an issue like autism. She may be autistic. And I hadn't even considered that. And
And the
sure
more
enough,
and the more you looked, the more you really paid attention with a different eye and a different mindset,
yeah,
it became almost obvious.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know, it was just, it was hot. We were in
Yeah,
this long
yeah,
line, and I was really thinking about the parent. I was like, oh, these poor parents and the children acting out and all of this. And you're like, you don't know the situation,
yeah. You
and
just
it
don't
could
know. We
be
just
something else.
Yeah, and the mother could be distressed, and the child. I mean, it could be so many situations that we just don't know about. And instead of judging, why don't we smile or just ask the parent, "Is there something I can
I
do to
can
help
do.
you?"
Hmm.
As opposed to just judging and labeling.
Yeah.
And anyway.
So the victims have been identified, and I put this little boy's picture up on my Instagram last night. The one black victim, shooting victim that was killed, 14-year-old Mason Schermerhorn,
Oh, Mason.
and another child by the name of Christian Angulo, also 14. Two teachers were killed, Mr. Richard Aspinwall and Christina Irimi. And Mason was described, as I mentioned, he was autistic, and they had sent out emails to people in the school and in the area saying they were trying to reach Mason. He had texted his mom, and then heard nothing. He's described as a great kid, loved life, didn't have any issues with anyone. He was autistic, but that didn't stop his glow, said a friend of the boy's mother. Um, and it was one of those situations. He couldn't get into his classroom, so he went to the other room. They did nothing to him. And his disturbed mind brought this gun
Mm.
that he was perhaps given by his father for Christmas.
Well, but even with that, Sybil, even with his parents giving him the gun, that's the situation. But what is it? What is going on with this young man that would propel him to want to go in and do something so destructive?
Right.
What's going on inside of him? And
But what about the warning signs? Even if they did not believe, there was nothing that he had put this on this social media platform, put out the threat. Even if they didn't, and he swore up and down, would you not? Even you say, "I believe my child didn't do it." Would you not take more careful looks and an investigation into the child's actions day to day, night to night?
so, well, I personally deal with that within my family. Where we had a young girl who was 14 that did a vicious threat, some of the worst thing, and I'm not exaggerating, that I have heard that she was going to do to somebody else. It was just disgusting, despicable. And we have tried and tried to place her somewhere to it. This has been such an interesting journey watching this happen, but we can't just discard this child.
Right.
We're not getting any assistance, but we can't discard this child. And so we just have to be, and the school knows, you know, we just have to stay diligent and stay on top. And I told her, Mama, you sleep in the bed with your eye open and the door locked.
It's just,
Because I mean, and the parent really is trying to
mhm.
do all that she can. And but I think, Sybil, some of these kids are just so violent in their minds. How many of these kids actually act out on the violence that's in their mind? And
Right.
how do you know?
How do you
Because
know? But
with
but
the
but don't the
games,
FBI don't they have experts who are there to work and to try to figure out and to do case studies on people that are charged with?
well, we don't know that they're not. We don't know that they're not, but there's just such an abundance. Like I
Yeah.
said, like my this young lady who I'm in relation with, you know, how many people that school probably gets? She's probably one of many that is violent.
Yeah.
And so the FBI will come to a school in, I don't know, Arlington, Texas, or Fort Worth, Dallas, or whatever. I mean, how often can you do that? How do they know? It has to be something
But there's
else.
no follow up to this. Not a thing.
We don't know that they didn't follow up.
Well, the reports have been that they said, okay, case closed.
Well, maybe they concluded that it was maybe they did. I don't know. And
I
so, and
know,
I don't
I
like
know, and
passing
I'm not
judgment.
asking you
I don't
to,
know.
to take on,
Oh
the
yeah,
our
no. I'm
the
just saying.
thought process.
I am just very careful about supposing and what have you when I don't have information.
This just came across. The boy's father has been charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Good,
The father of the 14-year-old suspected of fatally shooting the four people.
good. Karen just said that too. Thank you, Karen.
Um, but
So, but
and
what else is happening in the world?
okay, okay. I'm looking for a happier. Well, I don't know if this is happy, but one of my favorite judges is Judge Tanya Chutkin. She's the sister judge that was a part of the cases against Donald Trump, and she got
Okay.
pushed out the way. She's back on the case,
Which
and she
case for Donald Trump?
whether he is immune from election conspiracy charges. You remember when the Supreme Court came and said the president is immune from certain things,
Right.
and he has that immunity.
Right.
So she's back on the case and is setting the timeline for a case whether Donald Trump is immune from election conspiracy charges that will not allow a trial before the November election. She's not.
Oh,
She doesn't care about a timeline. She said, whatever it happens, it happens. But Jack Smith's team argued that Chutkin should decide whether Donald Trump is immune from prosecution before making any other decisions in the case. The timeline she subsequently laid out agreed with their request to handle the immunity question, while also considering Trump's other challenges to the charges that are against him. She said she would not be taking the election into consideration in setting the deadline. She said that happens when it happens. This court is not concerned with the electoral schedule. It's not something I'm going to deliver. But she said, I'm going to do it in my time and I'm going to make it right. And the other thing she has to consider is that she does it in such a way that it's not appealed or is not appealable so that her decision is overturned.
right. Okay. Yeah. So therefore she has to take her time and dot her I's and cross her T's.
Everything.
Just
Yep.
don't do it to get it done
Yep.
out of haste. Yeah.
That's absolutely
She has
right.
to get this right.
So this has never been a concern for me. I do remember going to a restaurant when we lived in Los Angeles, and I was told that the hat that I was wearing I had to take off. But there is a soul food restaurant in North Carolina. They have a dress code that has the internet talking. The soul food restaurant is called Kim's Cafe in Greensboro. Is receiving backlash for enforcing a dress code that some people on the social media are calling backwards. Posted its rules regarding clothing on its Facebook page Sunday, saying it had been in place throughout the summer. The rules include no shorts, no crop tops, no leggings, no T-straps, no white T-shirts, no short skirts, no skimpy clothes, no cleavage showing. And they say people are not leaving anything for the imagination much nowadays. So our dress code is strict.
Oh Lord, God, I just want a piece of chicken. What difference does it make what I got on my feet or my back? I just want the chicken. Why do you care?
They
Why do you
detailed
care if my ass is showing?
they had 10,000 comments as of yesterday. Multiple commenters compared the rules to the dystopian world of the Margaret Atwood novel, The Handmaid's Tale. You know how they were all dressed, or they were
Right.
covered, and
That's
all of
funny.
that.
Right.
And one woman said, "I done got kicked out before I even got there."
I love us.
James McKay said, "I'd literally have to buy clothes to go to your business."
Right.
It's summer and you don't allow shorts or white t-shirts. Ha, good luck.
Wow. Well,
But the
they couldn't
dress
be in
code is
Phoenix.
legal. They say the dress code is legal so long as it applied to every single customer the same way, according to an attorney. And remember we talked about the restaurant in Atlanta. They were disturbed with the way, especially black people came and showed up, but they were told the clothes they were wearing were not sufficient,
I
and they
remember
would
that.
point to the white people and say they got the same thing on that and they're like, And that's a problem. But
Yeah.
these people are holding to it no matter who they are or what they are.
But see, the problem with that is maybe not for us, but when they start judging us, and we are a little sensitive when they judge what shorts really mean.
Right.
What does a crop? What if I'm fat and my shirt just don't go all the way down?
It wasn't intended to be a crop top.
Right. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, we all have those outfits.
So yeah, so there is some judgment and some discrimination
Hmm.
in those
Maybe
cases.
against people who've outgrown their clothes.
Right. You're silly. You're a really silly girl.
Let's move to entertainment, but that is a lighter note to end on, right?
Yes,
As
thank you,
opposed to
baby.
what we were talking about. Jamie Foxx is ready to talk about his health scare, but it's going to cost you.
Okay.
He's going to do it on stage. He's set to unveil the full scope of his mysterious healthcare that landed him in an Atlanta hospital last year, teasing the full confession will happen on his new upcoming one-man show. He dropped the news on Instagram, promoting One More Chance, an evening with Jamie Foxx, teasing a deep dive into his health scare saga. What had happened was it splashed across a black background for the main promo. Looks like he's keeping things light. And according to the writers there, his caption promises the show will be packed with humor, heart, and inspiration to set and to be as entertaining as it is revealing. You may remember that Jamie was rushed to a hospital April of last year due to a medical complication, and he has hinted at the rough ride, ups and downs that he's had in dribs and drabs, bits and pieces, including an appearance at the Critics' Choice Awards in December. He said he nearly lost his life during a medical emergency, but he's kept all the full details pretty much under wraps until his 3-night set happens in October.
But he's going to record it, and we can
Yeah,
eventually see it
yeah,
on
yeah.
Prime or Netflix or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah, one of those. Right. So, but like I said, it'll cost you. What happened will cost you.
Okay. I didn't say this, but
If it, isn't that Jackie Welch on YouTube says it isn't that serious for me to pay to find out. Shaking my head. Well, I know one woman who would disagree with you,
well,
Marcelina. Marcelina, if
yeah,
you, yeah,
yeah.
Marcelina. Marcelina will go to the venue and will just put him over her shoulder and burp him almost as he's talking about his woes, even though she's not
Mhm.
his type. Um, Yolanda, are you ready to do your jewel?
I am, Sybil. This week I have really enjoyed about, intentions. Make sure that you don't surround yourself with people who question your intentions. That's very stressful. Or make sure that you don't surround yourself with people who you have to question their intentions. And this might be controversial, but the therapists in me have to stay positive and say, be open to the idea that most people have good intentions.
That's really necessary in today's
Yeah,
world
I think so.
because I am suspicious, and admittedly, but and have to be reminded. Just like, and I wasn't suspicious about this child in the airport, just disturbed by the interaction there. But you're right.
Yeah,
Be
because I
mindful of
believe that
people.
God created us, for good in the image of Him. But there are situations and circumstances in life, even generational, that causes us to do things that is not natural for the way that we were created. I believe that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Well, I wish you luck, and I hope that you will.
I'm learning a
Continue.
lot.
I'm really proud of you. And
Okay, me too.
and
I'm
don't
happy.
forget to come back and learn us something.
Okay, but pay attention. Hi, Sybil. Did I hang up? God
Yes,
damn
yes, yes. You hung up.
it. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Go out there and be good to each other.